We spend a lot of time here on the channel talking about propaganda in the mainstream media. About once, maybe twice a week, I'll be out at lunch, sitting with my laptop on the table, working on my computer. Some curious person will walk by me and say something to the effect of, "Why are you working during your lunch hour?" This inevitably leads to the follow-up question of what I do for a living. I'll explain the focus of the channel, how we point out hypocrisy and propaganda in the media. Oftentimes, I'm met with the same response to my explanation. You will never run out of ideas for content. There is so much propaganda in the American media, it is impossible for one person to keep up with all of it. Earlier this morning, I came across something so blatantly false. All I could do was laugh while I was reading it. I was sitting there thinking to myself, do they really think we're this stupid? Does CNN really think we are this stupid? Right before the end of the year, CNN sent out a press release bragging about their rating success in 2022. CNN ends the year ranked in the top 10 of all cable networks. Come again? I had to reread the headline multiple times. I thought I missed the part where they said top 10 of all cable news networks. That would make more sense. So I glanced at the headline again. CNN ends the year ranked in the top 10 of all cable networks. Okay, maybe CNN was talking about ranking inside the top 10 of cable networks in the birthing person's Republic of Bongo, because they damn sure could not be talking about America, right? Last year, we extensively covered CNN's ratings. Most days, most nights in prime time, they didn't have a show ranked in the top 50. In the same press release, CNN claimed to reach more people in the United States than any other cable network. I'm assuming they are counting the millions of people in airports across America who pay absolutely no attention as they walk past TV sets showing CNN. You guys, of course, you guys already know what the truth is. In terms of television ratings and damn near every other metric, 2022, the worst year in the history of CNN. According to Variety, CNN ended the year ranked outside the top 20. It was one huge embarrassing failure after another. CNN Plus shut down within 3 weeks of launching. Jake the Bongo Tapper in prime time, failure. Don spiked lemonade in prime time. Failure. They moved Donnie to morning television, squeezing him between two unknown women who think the WNBA is a professional basketball league instead of the facility that processes your sewage. To the surprise of no one, Donnie and his yentas on morning TV, failure. I could sit here for another hour listing failure after failure at CNN in 2022. Hell, it would be quicker for me to list their successes. There was none. Last year, CNN averaged 735,000 daily viewers, down 34% from 2021. Fox News tripled their audience. MSNBC damn near doubled it. But let's assume for a second that we actually believed this bullshit press release. Let's assume for a second everything is rainbows and woke wieners at CNN. Collectors of woke welfare aren't living in fear that there will be another round of massive layoffs. On-air personalities, they're not worried about being thrown off the air. No. Hell, a couple of months ago, Chris Wallace, he was singing songs of joy, telling the world he feels like a woman. I mean, I always knew Chris Wallace was a bit feminine. I'm just glad to see he is embracing his inner Rachel Levine. Maybe Chrissy and Rach can set up a nice date in Central Park, grill some Oscar Mayer, and talk about whose tastes better. But let's assume for a second we actually believe this bullshit coming from CNN. If things are so great, if it's one success after another, how come Chris Licht is looking to eliminate the primetime lineup? Networks that are drawing ratings, they're not looking to dramatically shift their programming. According to a report published by Radar Online this morning, Chris Licht is strongly considering revamping the primetime lineup to make room for a 2-hour comedy special. What? Are they going to change the name of the network to Comedy News Network? When I read this report this morning, I was incredibly confused. On numerous occasions throughout 2022, Chris Licht publicly stated CNN was moving in a new direction. It was not a comedic direction. Chris Licht was on a mission to eradicate the woke fungus from the network. And to his credit, he started off strong by firing a group of evil white men who constantly apologized for their white privilege. He also fired the donut diva Brian Stelter for his unwillingness to share the community donuts in the break room. On multiple occasions, Chris Licht said, CNN will be the place to go for hard news. Ooh, emphasis on hard. We want to appeal to the normal people who don't want to hear about partisan politics. We are going to be the source for factual information. CNN is committed to being even more boring than before. What the hell happened to that plan? That plan hasn't even been implemented. And Chris Licht is already changing directions again? What the hell's going on at this network? It's like CNN's on a mission to hit every iceberg in the woke sea. If Chris Light's vision for primetime comedy at CNN goes through, they are not only going to hit another iceberg, they will be resting next to the Titanic. If you are running a network and you wanted a host for a 2-hour comedic show in prime time, what names would be at the top of your list? Me personally, Bill Maher, he'd be number 1, number 2 on my list. Even though it might be impossible, I would also try to lure Greg Gutfeld away from Fox News. Now, I don't think Gutfeld's all that funny, but I can't deny his success. The dude found a formula and it works. If I were Chris Licht and I couldn't get Bill Maher, you know who I would break the bank for? Stephen A. Smith. His contract with ESPN ends later this year. It has always been a dream of Stephen A. to host a late-night style show in prime time. He has a massive platform on social media. I thought he was brilliant when he filled in for Jimmy the Kimmel last summer. Stephen A. Smith, he would be the perfect fit for CNN. Now, I know he plays the role of woke shitfuck on ESPN, but the truth is, Stephen A. Smith is a moderate. Isn't that exactly what Chris Licht claims to be looking for? A moderate? You spent all last year claiming CNN would be moving towards the middle. Stephen A. Smith is someone who can appeal to normal people. Everything's always about timing. The timing here is perfect. Unfortunately, though, for people who rely on the future of CNN to keep collecting their woke welfare, Stephen A. was not at the top of the list. Hell, his name wasn't even on the fucking list. Who is numero uno for Chris Licht? What man is Chris Licht begging to hold hands with? Imagine my surprise when I found out the name at the top of the list is Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart? Are we living in 2013? Last I checked, it's 2023. If this were 10 years ago, Jon Stewart, obviously, he would be a top choice. But 2023? This dude's the definition of irrelevant. His show on Apple TV is a huge embarrassing failure. Well, KC, Jon Stewart has a show on Apple TV? Yeah, no one knows about it. Last I checked, he was drawing about 40,000 viewers an episode. Jon Stewart, he draws less of a weekly audience than the channel you're watching right now. Now, Bill Maher, he's also being considered by Chris Licht. And credit to Chris Licht, Bill Maher's a good choice. But that is the only good choice on this list. Guess who else is under consideration? Just take a wild guess. Don Lemon. No. We're talking about comedy where people laugh with you, not comedy where they're laughing at you. Anderson Cooper. Jake the Bongo Tapper. No. The Bongo Tapper is tapped out. My sources, they actually tell me Jake the Bongo Tapper, he is undergoing physical therapy with his woke sister Tiffer the Bongo Sniffer. We just talked about this next contestant in the competition of huge embarrassing failures this past weekend. Travis Noah. Yeah. Chris Licht is actually considering bringing in Travis Noah to host a 2-hour primetime show built around comedy. Besides his appearance, what the hell is funny about Travis? This dude just obliterated The Daily Show. In 7 years, he managed to drive away 75% of the audience. What makes you think Travis is the solution to the primetime struggles at CNN? If the goal of Chris Licht is to continue the streak of failures at the network, why don't he just hire Bomani Jones? If you want to see your primetime audience go from almost nothing to nothing, reach out to the Bobo. This dude is an expert at not drawing ratings. Last year, John Oliver gave the Bobo a 900,000 viewer lead-in. Bomani Jones, he was able to knock that number down to a cool 90,000. At this point, Chris Licht is just grasping at straws. He's just throwing woke wieners at the wall, hoping they'll find someone's buns. Initially, I had high hopes for Chris Licht. I knew it would be difficult, but I thought he had a chance at turning things around at CNN, but I am convinced Chris Licht does not have the answers. This dude is drowning, and he's taking the network with him. What Chris Licht is trying to do here, he is trying to emulate the success of Greg Gutfeld on Fox News. MSNBC, they're trying to do the same thing. NBC Universal, they're thinking about moving Seth Meyers from late night on NBC to primetime on MSNBC. Because of the success of Greg Gutfeld, CNN, MSNBC, they mistakenly believe comedic news is the future of cable news, but they are overlooking a couple of things here. First, you can make the case there's only one successful show in the genre, Gutfeld. Stephen Colbert not meeting expectations. Jimmy Fallon failing so bad NBC's actually regretting his contract. Jimmy the Kimmel, failure. Samantha Bee, canceled due to low ratings. Travis Noah, failure. Chris Licht thinks simply copying the format of Greg Gutfeld will bring in the ratings, but he's overlooking the aspect that makes Greg Gutfeld successful. The host, Greg Gutfeld. Greg Gutfeld is successful because he's entertaining, but most importantly, he's relatable. Even though I don't think he's funny, I can relate to Greg Gutfeld. You know who I can't relate to? Jon Stewart, Travis Noah. If Chris Licht hires either one of them, his career at CNN is all but over. It is done. I gave him the perfect host. Bill Maher would be good, don't get me wrong, but at 66 years old, I don't think Bill Maher wants to commit to 2 hours of live television every night. He's got it made doing 1 hour a week on HBO. If Chris Licht really wants to save prime time on CNN, if he wants to compete with Fox News, go get Stephen A. Smith. But give me your thoughts. Is Jon Stewart the savior for CNN in prime time? I think bringing in Jon Stewart will be the final nail in the coffin of Chris Licht's career at CNN. We'll be burying him in the woke cemetery right next to my Queen Jemele Hill. But give me your idea. Who can CNN hire to compete with Gutfeld on Fox News? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, kc_btl84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.